I was speaking to a friend of mine today, and we were discussing on how to deal with people and frustrations, etc. And one of the things that we discussed was the concept of a person being like a whole world. So Chazal tell us that every person is like a world to himself. And interestingly enough, there are svarim, I believe it's the Achos Tzadikim, that go into great detail as to like how the human body is like a world, and it goes through rivers and oceans, etc., and compares the bodies of liquid and water. But more importantly, every person is a world unto itself. Every person has its own reality, experiences, feelings, understandings, interpretations. Aside from their physical makeup, what goes on in here is a whole world. It's an entire world. And so really, it got me thinking a little bit in the ways of when somebody comes to a new place. Let's say somebody discovers a new world, a new planet, whatever it might be. They're curious, and they appreciate that this new place that they found is unlike the place that they come from. And they try and find how it's different, and they try and measure, and they try and formulate and extrapolate and experiment and all the different kinds of things that they try and do to gain better understanding of this other place. And essentially, that's a very good way to approach a different person as well. If a person is like a world unto himself, then treat it like a new world. And obviously, we're not talking about when somebody's in the thick of things and for them it's difficult to get out of their own head. But when things have settled, look at it again, review it again. And what might work for you doesn't work for this person, very likely won't work for this person, because this person has different experiences and different outlook and different reactions based on whatever they've been through. And funnily enough, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, when he talks about Avraham Avinu, and he says that he's going to reveal to Avraham that he's going to destroy Sodom. Why? Because he said, Leman ki yadativ asher yitzhava esbonav. And the Lashon of yadativ, that I know him, what does it mean? It's also given to understand that I love him, meaning the relationship between Avraham and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was that Avraham Avinu was always searching. We know the Medrash is that Avraham Avinu was, whether he was 3 years of age, 5 years of age, 75 years of age, Avraham Avinu was a truth seeker. He was seeking. He said, well, who created the world? It's not the sun, because the sun goes down at night. It's not the moon, because the moon comes up, because the moon goes away in the morning. We don't see the moon in the morning. It's not the stars. And he went and he was curious, and he looked and he looked and he looked, and he, in a certain sense, found Hashem. He says, well, this must be it. There must be an entity above all of these that created everything. But he kept on, the curiosity didn't stop. There's at no point did Avraham Avinu say, well, now I understand Hashem. Now I know what his intentions are. Now I know what he wants me to do. Now I know why he's asking me to do X, Y, and Z. Avraham Avinu didn't even go down that path. And the proof in the pudding is the Akedah. The Akedah was something so far beyond what Avraham Avinu had experienced with Hashem and what he'd been actually promulgating and teaching the world, that this is not the way to serve Hashem, not by human sacrifice. And here he goes and he sacrificed not only a human, but his son. And so the idea is to never reach the point of, I understand. Because once you say I understand, then you can start assuming that you know what the person's intentions are, where they're coming from, and that they mean it badly, and whatever it might be. And it's an interesting thought to sit with. Person is an entire world. Every world, every place deserves exploration, curiosity. It's not easy, but it's a good place to start. The moment we start realizing that every person is a world unto themselves, has a reality unto themselves, they are not copies of me walking around, and therefore they're not going to react the way that I react, and they won't necessarily understand the way that I'm reacting towards them. Then from that moment, we can start to appreciate each and every one a lot better.